Hello and welcome to Ask the Commissioner Part 2. If you recall, last year we had the opportunity to sit down with the Enid City Commissioners and ask them all the same questions to hear their responses to really what was going on in the City of Enid. Well, again, welcome to Part 2. And this year, for 2015, we have the opportunity right off the bat to speak with Ward 1 Commissioner Ron Janzen. Ron, welcome to the ETN studios.
Steve, I'm glad to be here.
It's good to see you.
Yes.
You get to jump up in the director's chair and start directing. Well, welcome to the ETN studio. Where, this was a city-owned building that was just a closet at one time, storage to some furry little animals and a lot of storage. But we appreciate you coming to the studio. So overall, what do you think of the studio?
I love it. I like to say you could have a little bit more inviting entranceway here. The entrance, it's kind of like you're not sure what you're getting into when you walk up to the back door. But once you get inside, you really have it fixed up nice. It's very attractive and obviously functional.
Well, we've made I feel like we've been pretty good stewards of the funds and made use of what we've had. And so anyway, we're excited that you're here today to ask the commissioner right off the bat. We had a decent rain just recently, and so people, when they see the skies open up, they think about water, and they may be thinking about Call Lake because that's been part of the conversation. And in my notes, I have the Garber Engineering Consultants. They're in the process of providing you and other members of the commission a concept engineering report and estimated costs associated with building a pipeline from Call Lake to Enid, Oklahoma. Why do you feel that this is the avenue, or why are we going this way, I guess you should say? And I realize that you're still waiting on the report. This may be a little premature, but I won't hold you too accountable for your answer to this question, because I know you're waiting on some really important numbers from this engineering report.
Yeah, probably the most important numbers. But the one thing, if people have followed how this process has gone along, the City Commission has been studying our water problems for probably at least the last 6 years. I still remember when I was first elected 4 years ago, my predecessor handed off to me a cardboard box full of water reports, studies that had been done already at that time. And during their deliberations and then our studies, we considered lakes, we considered a number of different lake locations, and we finally settled on the idea that really to provide a long-term water source, that Call Lake was our best bet. And so, once we made that decision, and that was done based on a recommendation from a consultant that had studied this process long and hard. And then we hired Garver, as you mentioned here last year. Well, actually, I guess it was earlier this year. It was in the last term. But anyway, to be our engineer on this process, to study what the best way to bring the water here from Call Lake, and as you indicated, to give us an estimate of what the cost was going to be. And until you know how much it's going to cost, you really don't know how to proceed on an issue like that, because the estimates that we've gotten from our own engineers indicate that it could be in the range of $250 to $300 million, which would make it one of the largest projects that's ever been undertaken by a city in the state of Oklahoma.
That's quite a price tag when you think about, not to simplify the need for water, but water is crucial for any community's success. But it's one of those costs of operating that you really have to absorb and keep in mind that, whatever the cost is, we got to find a way to make this work, and that's a real challenge.
The one thing that nobody wants to have happen is to turn on the tap and not have anything come out.
Exactly. Well, we'll get you back to the studio, and we'll talk to you more once that engineering report is complete, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Call Lake water project.
One thing I might mention about that is that the city, once we do get this report from Garber, the city is going to start monitoring the progress of this whole project, and it'll be posted on the city's website. So citizens, if they want to keep track of how the process is going along, they can periodically check the Enid website and And I'm sure that there'll be reports on it too on the Enid television network.
Sure. We'll keep everybody updated. One interesting fact is that if people aren't familiar with Call Lake over in the Ponca City area, which is really east of Ponca City, is that it's basically fed through southern Kansas. And it seems like everything, Commissioner, east of I-35 gets the rain compared to the western part of the state. But it's interesting that one report that I saw that even during the driest time periods in Oklahoma, the water level at Call Lake was pretty much staying at its level. It really wasn't fluctuating up or down, which is very unique compared to other lakes in western Oklahoma that get really drained. So that's one good thing about the Call Lake.
Well, that was one of the big items that made us decide to go in that direction, because actually the watershed for Call Reservoir is almost half of the state of Kansas drains into that reservoir, and it has never dropped, like you say, below acceptable levels.
And thank goodness it drains south and southeast. Well, closer to home, let's talk trails and parts. Can you give us the latest update on where we're at on the trail expansion or extension, if you will, and also just the updates to the park equipment? Because I know you participate in the park board, so can you give our viewers an overview of what's going on?
Actually, we've got two sections of the trail that are being worked on right now. One of them is we've got what we call the East Broadway Trail, where actually we're widening and extending the sidewalk from downtown all the way to the university along East Broadway. And that's going to make it a lot easier for people on that side of town if they want to ride their bicycle or to walk or to jog back and forth to town or out to the university. They can use that. And that's going to should be completed sometime this year. And then also we're getting a study done on a trail route out to Vance Air Force Base. This has been something that's been planned for a long time, but we haven't really decided on what the best route would be or what the best way would be to construct a trail to Vance. And so we're having a study done now, and we should get a report on that too, either later this year or early next year.
If it was just so easy to just put a trail down, but there's a lot of hoops to jump through. There's a lot of permission to get and just a lot of the challenges. What does that overall do to the commission when you see all these hurdles? Not that it's impossible, but the hurdle after hurdle to just make progress. Do you have to be very patient?
I think that's the one thing that you have to learn if you get on the Enid City Commission, or probably in any legislative position, is that once you decide on a project, you're ready for it to happen, and it sometimes takes months and months and sometimes even years before you actually see the project completed, and that is kind of frustrating, but it's just part of the process. Yeah. People don't take into consideration the fact that you have to have designs, you have to have plans, you have to bid it out. That takes time, and everything takes time, and it's you get impatient. But
let's hurry up and wait, kind of deal. Well, I know that you've been, I wouldn't say outspoken, but you've talked about the Enid Comprehensive Plan, Envision Enid Plan quite a bit. It's been complete. It's been presented to the Commission. I believe recently it was approved. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I know part of the 20-year plan, Envision Plan, talks about the big ideas, and I think the big ideas, there was like 6 or 7 different categories. Is there one of those categories that maybe is near and dear to you that you want to discuss to inform our viewers about?
Actually, the comprehensive plan, this is not the first time that Enid's had a comprehensive plan. We've done this before, and actually this started out as being a 5-year update, but it got a little more extensive than that, and the consultant that we hired pretty much drew up a completely different plan that's supposed to kind of map out what Enid does for the next 20 years. And I want to invite anybody that's watching the program. They can go on the Enid website again and read the comprehensive plan. It's going to be posted there on the website where they'll have it available. And you mentioned there is 6 big ideas was one of the main parts of the plan, and several of the big ideas affect Ward 1. The one that I think is, and a lot of these things that the city is working on already. It's not something that we've never heard of before, but part of it has to do with the retail development out on Garriott Road. If you followed what the City Commission is doing, we're working now on acquiring property for a retail development at the corner of Garrett and Cleveland. And then, of course, the mall development out there. There's been several developers who have expressed interest in redoing the mall, adding new businesses out there. And this plan, one of the big ideas is that we need to continue to enhance and develop our retail, what they call our retail corridor there on West Garrett.
Commissioner, you've already discussed about the Enid comprehensive plan, and that's not to say that the commission, they have a plan, they have a goal, they have objectives they're trying to reach, but this comprehensive plan just allows us to look at these 6 big ideas, and it's really kind of a compass, kind of a focus, if you will. So these 6 areas have been identified, and so as a commission, we will focus on those areas. Is that pretty much a true statement?
Well, part of the reason why we had got this particular plan was that the feeling was that we needed someone from outside to come in and look at Enid and make some suggestions and possibly talk about some things or come up with some ideas that we hadn't thought of. Now, you know, the people here in Enid, they've got a pretty good idea of what they think Enid
Sure.
needs, and we hear from those people pretty regularly. But this was a chance to get some people from outside of Enid who had some expertise in the area of, you know, community development, that sort of thing, to come in and give us their ideas.
As you mentioned just a few moments ago, one of the big ideas centered on retail development and also economic development. And so my question to you, Commissioner, is what do you see are the key attractions for organizations to relocate to Enid? Why would the XYZ company look at Enid and say, you know, I'd like to be a part of that community? What are those attractions?
One of the things that we heard from this comprehensive plan was that Enid, a lot of money that people spend, people that live in Enid spend, they spend in other places. In other words, there's a market here for additional goods and services that are going out of town. And of course, we don't want that to happen. We want the people that live here and the people in the surrounding area to come and shop and be able to find the things that they want to buy right here in Enid. So if you're a retailer and you've come here and look and you see a need that's not being met here, well, you should be interested in opening your business here.
Absolutely. I remember as a young kid growing up in Perry, I remember it was kind of a exciting thing to say, oh, I'm going to Enid to shop, or I'm going to Stillwater to shop. I think those days have changed a little bit where people aren't necessarily looking for the thing to do is to leave Enid to go shopping. They're leaving Enid to go shopping because they can't find that item right here.
Yep, there's certain items that this consultant identified that people are not spending their money on here in Enid, and they're things that are buying. And of course, I think the internet's got something to do with that as well.
I believe we can purchase a few items that way very easily. Our special guest on Ask the Commissioner Part 2 is Award 1 Commissioner Ron Janzen, and we'll have more with the Commissioner right after this. Welcome back to Ask the Commissioner. It's my privilege each year, we kind of do an annual visit, of asking the commissioners 5 or 6 specific questions and get their response to what's going on in the city of Enid. And my special guest today is Ward 1 Commissioner Ron Janzen. In reference to Ward 1, compared to last year, if I can say that, what concerns or even compliments are you hearing from your neighbors, your constituents?
You know, we touched on this a little bit earlier, and part of it is roads, potholes. You know, the things that you always have. It seems like that I hear more from people about the condition of the streets, and here lately, some people have indicated that ditches. You know, we're not cleaning up the roadsides as well as they think we should. It's all of those kind of things. It's never what you would think would be the big issues. It's the smaller things, the things that affect them more personally than that.
Well, I believe in our community, people really take pride in addressing the landscaping and how well their front yard looks, and even their backyard. And so they have that high expectation of driving down the street, and if they see high grass at an intersection or in a ditch area, then that raises the concern, say, well, you know, if I can do this, why can't the city do that? One thing, and kind of as a disclaimer, this past summer has really been a wet summer for us. We've been so blessed and so thankful to receive all the rain, but it has created some multiple problems too.
Yes.
Grass continued to grow, and that Johnson grass, Johnson grass in Oklahoma really does well when it gets some rain.
Well, Enid right now, for this time of year is probably as green as I ever remembered for this time of year. I mean, just the yards, right-of-ways, all of those types of things because, like you say, of the rainfall we've got.
You can go out west or east on 412, and those center medians are green, and you're thinking, this is August? This is September?
Yep.
You're right. Commissioner, since we visited last time, has your vision or the objectives for the community, have they changed since the last time you and I visited?
Well, actually, it was a while back that you and I talked, and I don't remember exactly what we thought were the important things at that particular time.
Well, water was one of the topics, but it just seemed like your hope as commissioner is that we just keep this machine well-oiled and moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think probably has changed a little bit, at least in the last year, is that our revenue stream has kind of flattened out on us. There was a period of time, and in the first few years of my previous term, I'm just beginning my second term on the city commission this time, and that we had more money to spend, and it's always easy to spend money, and it's always easy to get a lot of things done if you've got the money to do it. And I see a little change in that direction. I think our revenue's tightened up a little bit, and we're not able to do quite as many of the quality of life things that we'd like to do and that we've been accomplishing in the last couple of years.
We'd like to remind our viewers that you can watch the study session as being broadcast, and it's also live streamed on enidtv.org. And that is on channel 12 and then in channel 112 in high definition. So now you can see the study session and you can see the city council meetings. But one topic that you were here during those study session is the topic of money. Not enough money to go around. And so I want to encourage everyone that if you don't have channel 12 or 112, you can watch these meetings on enidtv.org. So we're really pleased to be able to provide you these meetings and so forth.
I'd like to second that motion because it's this is something that's important. If people really want to keep track of what's going on in their city and want to know what the city commission is doing, they have the perfect opportunity now because both meetings are televised every other week or twice a month when we meet. And if you want to know what's happening, just watch it for yourself.
And also, if you cannot watch the meeting on Tuesday, we play it back several times till the next session. So it's not like you have to see it on Tuesday. We'll play it back 4 or 5 times. Well, there's been this cleared area in downtown Enid for quite some time. And now it seems like a Hilton Inn or Garden Inn hotel is, with the Peachtree Group, is going to be filling up that space. How does the commission feel about that?
Well, like you say, we've been working on this too for several years now, and we thought about a year ago that we were fairly close, sure. And that deal didn't come out, and the only problem is that they now tell us that it's going to be late next year before we'll actually have a hotel downtown. So it's going to be a while yet. They're going to have to look at the dirt patch for a while, but they hope to be under construction by next spring, and then have the hotel finished either late next year or early the following year. So we're looking forward to that. And I tell you what, we definitely got a better deal this time than we did on the first go around with Lodgewell. So from a city standpoint, it was a big win.
Well, I've noticed other communities across the state of Oklahoma had some challenges as well with groups and financings and things of this nature. So it's not an Enid thing.
No.
There's other communities that seem to be rather prosperous communities. They've had their problems of getting a hotel. And again, as my mom used to say, said, Steve, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So it does pose a challenge, but we look forward to that day of that first hotel key being issued.
Well, and this goes along with one of the big ideas from the comprehensive plan, and that's to continue to enhance downtown Enid. We want to continue to see things happen in downtown Enid, and we think that a hotel down there will be a big help, not only to the merchants downtown, but also to the event center and some of their projects and programs, and the ballpark as well. You know, we've got a lot of activity over there at the ballpark, and a lot of people coming to Enid to stay, and the downtown hotel would be a big help for that. Because
I think if you go to a meeting in another city, it's great to be able to stay where the meeting is and not get in your car, drive across town and go to a civic center or something. And so we look forward to those days where the downtown hotel is in place. And we do know, Commissioner, that I think when there is a particular concert, 45% of those tickets that are purchased are from people outside of Garfield County. And so potentially we have that 45% to say, well, you know what? I don't think we'll drive back home at 11:30 tonight. We'll just spend the night. So
there you go.
We look forward.
Stay in Enid, and pay a little hotel motel tax, and eat breakfast the next day.
And then go home.
And
then come back again. Well, Commissioner, our visit's about over with. I've got one more pre-program question for you. So outside the topic of water, and we know that it is significant, what do you foresee are the next biggest challenges for the Commission and maybe for Enid as well?
I think I talked about this last time, and I think it's infrastructure improvements. We've got a lot of road projects on our menu. We're planning on widening Cleveland Street, which is going to be a big part of the project. You know, the apartment development out there, and the residential development, as well as the retail development out there on North Cleveland. And Willow Street still needs to be widened. So I think that we're going to see some improvement in our streets. We're also going to extend East Broadway, pave it all the way out to the university, and all of those things are going to really be a major improvement in the transportation of people around here in Enid. So I think that's one of the things we're going to do. We've got a lot of projects to complete, and we've got a lot of things that are underway. And I'm looking forward to getting a lot of those things completed, before we really start anything else.
Sure. And it's real easy to maybe look at the things that need to be done, but sometimes we could just take a step back and look at the Ferris wheel at Meadow Lake Park. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at some of the things that we have completed, and Enid is on the right track. I think you'll agree with me that maybe the wheels of progress move ever so slowly, but at least in Enid, it's moving forward. It may be slow, but at least it's moving in the right direction. Do you agree with that?
It seems slow, but like I say, it's just because it takes a while to get things done. Yeah. And you mentioned Meadow Lake. We've had a lot of things happen out of Meadow Lake. If you haven't been to Meadow Lake Park in the last year or so, you need to go out there and see what's going on out there. Yeah. We've got some new buildings. We've got another new building that's under construction out there. We're going to have a dog park that's going to be, I expect it to be completed out there this fall. So things are happening out at Meadow Lake. Things are happening at other parks too. But get out and around and look and see what's happening in Enid. You'll like it.
Very good. Well, Commissioner Janzen, thank you for your time today.
Always enjoyed it.
Thank you for this update, and we'll have you back to the ETN studios, and we'll talk a little bit more about water, and we'll talk a little more about hotel and everything else we want to talk about. So
sounds like a plan.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us on Ask the Commissioner. Appreciate the opportunity to give you this update, and we want to remind everybody that you can go to the city's website, enid.org, and you can learn more about commission meetings, the calendar, things of this nature. And also, all of our press releases are placed on the homepage at enid.org. So if you feel like you're out of touch, just go to that homepage and you can learn a lot about our press releases. Construction, things that are happening in our community is right there on the homepage. And also, anything to do with the City Commission broadcast, study session, and the meetings, they are broadcast on enidtv.org. And you can watch it on your smartphone, iPhone, and you can watch it on your computer at home and office. So we have really grown in the technological advances of making the City Commission broadcast very accessible to you, and you can watch all of that on Channel 12 and 112. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to the next visit in regard to Ask the Commissioner. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Until next time, make it a great day.